Morning. Here we are in my art studio again, as there was a really strong storm outside yesterday and it was going to last 3 days. But today, since morning, it's really calm outside. It's so calm that I don't really trust it. So I decided I'm going to stay inside today, at least for the portion of recording this video. So welcome to a 12th episode of Wonder Club, the final episode of the series as we know it. If this is your first time watching, Wonder Club is a series where every month I shared a list of personal wonders in hopes to just share little joys of life and possibly become your cozy inspiration well in this side of the internet. And my name is Nika and I'm an artist living in Iceland. Again, if this is your first time watching, there is a playlist with all of the episodes in an order, but if you're anything like me and like to spoil the ending, feel free to stay in this one. And to anyone who's a returning viewer, hello, welcome back. Happy to have you here. And let's get right into it. So in this episode, it will be a bit of a mix of things. I will not make a new list of wonders for this month, but I will kind of recap some of the things that I mentioned in all the 11 episodes that I made, and then I will just share with you the ones that stood out to me the most and the ones that changed the chemistry of my brain in 2024. And then at the end, I will do a little bit of a reflection of what I've learned in this series, what I liked, what I didn't like, what I ended up with. So in the first episode, I really liked how fresh I felt starting this series. And, there I was with my freshly cut hair from the summer. And it really gave me energy to start again, start anew, start a different kind of concept. And then I also remember I was just getting into ink painting. I don't think I've tried to do it at that point, but I remember I spent quite a big portion of the video explaining this Zen paintings and ink painting that was connected to a Japanese koan, which I just really hold dear in my heart. And I'm still proud of that video. All right, the second episode, I was really big into using this Libby app that's connected to the library. I really recommend if you're a big reader or you want to start reading, I recommend going to your local library and asking about it, because most libraries have access to an online bank of audiobooks and ebooks and magazines. And in that episode, I remember I was focusing on accessing big quantities of really good magazines or really interesting ones for inspiration, for just insight, for reading the paper. Magazines like Vogue or, Country Living, like whatever your interests are, they had it. And it was just a really accessible and interesting way to gain inspiration and to spend your time off the screen. Well, of the social media, maybe not of the screen. So that one really stood out to me, and I still do use Libby almost every day, mostly for audiobooks. But yeah, that one stuck with me. Episode 3 featured a rock, not one, but 2 at least. I shared with you my favorite rock, which I still stand by. The idea of having your favorite rock is beneficial. And I also, for the first time ever, was able to guide a meditation, which I wrote this meditation, recorded it, and then went through it with you guys on video. And the theme of it was also a rock. So I do invite you to give it a try, give it a view, maybe try it out if you're into that sort of thing. I do plan to write more meditations. I wanted to do it way more often, but I was not able to focus on it properly. So that one I'm still proud of. And Oh, yeah, I also was really happy to incorporate Qigong into that episode. And I just used this one movement, the closing form, which is like a cleansing and sealing movement, if I understand it correctly. I really like this practice that at an end of a Qigong practice, you always use this closing form, and it's like a meditation and motion sort of thing. And yeah, I was happy that I incorporated that, and that I still, again, these things, rocks, Qigong, meditation, these things are with me into 2025. Okay, from episode number 4. Here, I really would like to focus on incorporating art processes into my episodes. I really was aiming for this series to give me a space to practice different techniques and to exercise all the interests that I had that I don't usually have the proper space for in my life, or am too afraid to try and overthink them. So in this one, I remember I was getting into ink painting. At the beginning of the series, I was really enamored with the Sumi epainting, and I really liked that because of the series, I was able to practice art outside more often. And yeah, I'm really surprised that I stuck with it, with the ink technique, because I usually burn through my obsessions like an incense, and this feels more like a log fire interest, if you know what I mean. So yeah, letting yourself be surprised as well. And I even ended up making my own brushes from a bunch of things I collected in nature. So yeah, that one, and ink painting is making it into 2025. Moving on to episode 5. That one, I think I was really focused on romanticizing summer. And I have to say, I had the best summer of my life. Started with my short Swedish getaway, smelling amazing, having lake dips after sauna. Like, this is my favorite way to spend time. And then a trip around Iceland, where me and my partner for the first time went around the whole island, and we both fell in love completely with the Eastfjords. And it was also the first time I understood that you can absolutely get a sunstroke in Iceland. Don't take it lightly. And it was a beautiful, beautiful summer, and I'm really glad I made the effort to like summer, because if you remember, I'm not a summer person. I'm a winter person through and through, autumn person as well, not a summer person. But this kind of summer I can get with, more than that even. Moving on to episode 6. Here I'd like to shine a light on getting into herbs. I was recently interested in herbalism and specifically getting into herbs locally. I got a book about Icelandic herbs, and I took part in this herbal workshop that this lovely lady took us on a walk by the lake and showed us what can be picked where and when and what can it be used for. So now, having this knowledge, I ended up at the end of summer collecting a bunch of Arctic thyme for tea, and also collecting crowberries. These you can make a juice out of, which a lot of Icelandic people do. I haven't tried it yet, but I just collected the crowberries for porridge, for oatmeal. And this year I'm looking forward to starting the picking season, the harvest season. All right, episode 7. Here there was a huge sentiment around coziness and really good blanket. And I have to say, these stood out to me because I do genuinely still use these 2 blankets that I got maybe like 30 minutes before we went for the road trip. And they do still remind me of the summer, of the wonderful times we've had, of the coziness. And I still think having a really good blanket that makes you happy is very important. So yeah, good blanket. 8th and 9th episodes, they were put together as I was facing a health issue and I could not film one episode. But I didn't give up, and I made a double episode, which I put a lot of work into the research of, and I heavily focused on literature. And filming that episode made me feel really, really comfortable in my own skin, in my personality. I rediscovered that I really loved reading letter compilations, and translating. So I ended up translating a portion of a letter in Polish from Polish artists to her partner, and compared the translation later on, which I don't think is in the video yet, but I am planning on make a Substack post about comparing these two translations. Because at the moment of the video, I remember I could only access a fragment of the Polish version of the book and not the English one. But after the video came out, I was gifted the English version of the book. So now I could compare how the official translation stands against my own translation. Episode 10, here the focus was on writing and releasing a Substack, and also sharing skills with my mom, sharing skills with your elders. So the first part, coming back to writing, coming back to blogging, all internet. I really found a good community there, and I think it was really, really beneficial and nice to find a new space on the internet to express oneself and share one's writing. And yeah, I feel I'll be spending more time there, so you can definitely expect more personal essays from me. Maybe some of them would be narrated, which I really wanted to do that. I haven't done it yet, but I've seen some other people writing beautiful poetry essays, if that's even a thing, and reading them as a voiceover on top of the post. So that's something you might expect from me in the near future. And yeah, the second part, sharing skills with my mom, sharing skills, learning from your elders. Definitely very, very important brain altering moment for me. Me and my mom made a Kindle case from just materials we had at home and buttons from my grandma's collection. So it feels like this generational beautiful piece that I carry with me. And it made me want to spend more time with my mom just learning the amazing skills she has, because she's a very skilled artist that has many things to offer in that sense. And here we are at the episode 11, which the focus here, I would like to say, was discovering Traveler's Notebook and falling in love with journaling in full. So I fully went into the Traveler's Notebook rabbit hole, and now I have my own setup. And again, let me know if you'd like me to make a Traveler's Notebook tour. I know some people, I think one or two people maybe expressed that before, that they would like to see that from me. So I think regardless, I will make it, because I really want to make it. I really love watching them. It was very special to get into journaling and planning again on paper, because I was using digital calendars for a long time, and I still do use them for quick notes, but it's very, very good to have it all together. And I've been obsessed with having this almost a generational kind of item that's supposed to last for a very long time, and that you can also modify to your needs as you go. So yeah, that would be the end of the recap list of the wonders that stood out to me the most and changed my brain chemistry the strongest from 2024 to 2025. And I think many of these things will stay as my regular practices in the way I move about. So without further ado, let's go into the portion of reflection. When it comes to the reflection part, I would like to go through what I have achieved, and what I liked, what I didn't like, and what is next. So really quickly, let's go through the numbers. When it comes to followers, I was starting from the raging 117 subscribers on the day I posted my first Wonder Club, and now at the time of making this video, that is 535, which, up to internet standard, that's not a lot, but up to actual people standard, realistically speaking, a room with 535 people, that is a lot of people. So let me be happy about that. It's a very slow growth that I'm noticing here on the channel. And I've actually had this channel since 2009. So I was really surprised that YouTube algorithm actually picked it up for some of you guys. So let's see where that goes. When it comes to views, a few of my videos went past the 1K views, which makes me really happy. I've never had anything go past 1K, except some post on Tumblr I made back in 2010. And then I remember there was a reel on Instagram that got quite a lot of views, but on YouTube, never happened. So I'm really, really happy with that. And I see some of the videos are slowly reaching that 1K as well, which, comments. I remember when I tried to set a goal for my channel, and I tried to set a certain number of comments as a goal, but then I ended up getting really, really sad because I was not getting almost any comments. And I thought, well, why am I setting a goal that is not in my hands? Comments come from you guys, and I was very genuinely grateful to receive as many comments as I did, which for me, a number of 10 comments under a video, or a little bit of a discussion, or even when you guys message me about something that I said in the video, I find that really, really a big success of this channel, and something that I didn't expect, something actually I gave up on. So that is a very nice surprise, and I really appreciate you guys commenting and liking, and I'm always curious and I always reply to comments. So so that's it in terms of numbers. Another achievement that I would like to reflect upon is my approach to implementing a new habit, redefining my work as an artist, as a person, and posting online. So what I've been able to implement is this approach of a curious scientist. What I mean by that is you do not attach a certain outcome that will determine your happiness up to that activity. You simply perform the activity, observe, make notes, draw conclusions, simply do the thing and observe how it influences you. I feel like that takes so much pressure off, and it was really, really hard to implement for me, because every time I posted a video, I felt like I'm going to shrink up and disappear. I didn't like the feeling of something not being perfect. I was looking into every little thing that was wrong. I was looking into not enough people receiving my content or replying, or perhaps people, not even people laughing at me, but people misunderstanding. I was so afraid of saying something wrong and being misunderstood. And so I was able to really build my confidence through that approach, and I've become more detached and less controlling about how I appear to others, and focusing more about the fact that the message I want to convey will make it to the people that are meant to receive it. So I feel like that achievement was very, very important for me this year. And another one in that category would be realizing why I'm putting things off. I've been avoiding things, even the things I enjoy, for years on end. And just this year, I realized that, yes, it might be linked to perfectionism and not wanting to come out of the ideation stage of an idea, because that causes discomfort, because that, will not be as controlled as can be in our heads. So when something is in the dream stage, it is very easy to overlook any discomforts or difficulties that come in real life. So as much as that could be a reason for me in many cases, I really realized this year, I learned that when you are neurodivergent, you avoid doing things you enjoy also because this overwhelming emotional cost of making something, of dealing with all the anxieties and the whole process of it, and also of when you really excited to do something. So I've been able to ease that in my experience through learning that small consistency also pays off, that moving often but a little bit helps more than not moving at all. And of course that seems very obvious, but for example, in my experience, I tend to fall off patterns quite a lot and always struggle to go back to it because I felt like, okay, with time I'm just going to fail more and more and just going to fall off the wagon altogether. So what's the point? So I learned through my exercise routine that I've enjoyed seeing progress in small ways more than forcing myself to do something. So, for example, how that translated into exercise was that rather than go to the gym that I didn't like, but I was forcing myself to have a workout every day or every week, I ended up doing a few stretches that I really wanted to properly learn. So I end up doing these stretches every day, just a few times a day, wherever I am. And I see so much progress through that. So I've been able to translate that through my artistic practice, or maybe the artistic practice informed my exercise as well. But what I mean by that is, of course, people say, yeah, you would become more successful if you were posting every week, every 2 weeks, or more consistently and more specifically in a niche way. But I had to learn that completing a video project from 0 to 12 months consistently and not giving up is a huge achievement for me. And I've gone through a transformation through that process, and it helps more with not feeling bad that I can't do weekly videos yet, perhaps. There we go again with the curious scientist approach. So, it's like a little trick I'm trying to learn. Just do the thing consistently in very little ways, and with time you'll be able to build up the spine to handle more. Or not, but at least you'll have the little things that you wouldn't have otherwise. So, yeah, just a reflection on that topic a little bit. So let's move on to the things that I liked about the process. I really liked spending time with literature and rediscovering my love for many things, as translating, like I mentioned in the previous section, or just spending time researching topics that I found interesting and having a justification to do so and a place to share them without feeling bad as that I cannot go fully into a certain topic. And through that, I was able to remove myself a bit more from the outcome and into the process. And I've noticed I've become way less controlling and self-censoring about things I like, and just spending time the way I wanted to spend it. Another thing I liked is discovering how much support I got from people in real life. So not from strangers, but through people in my life, my friends, my family. I had some very nice conversations and compliments and encouragement from them. So here's a little moment to thank them for that. You know who you are. And the people who shared my videos without me asking them to, or, commenting always. And yeah, I wouldn't have known that otherwise. So that's a good little thing. Let's move on to the things I didn't like. So I really didn't like how much time it took to prepare each episode. I initially started this series to make it a little bit easier for myself to start being consistent with YouTube. And it ended up taking so much more time than I imagined. I imagined that such an episode would take maybe one day with filming, editing, putting it together. And it turns out that I've been able to scale it down to 3 days. But possibly this one will be done in 2 days. And that's just because of the quality of my brain and how I go about doing things. I get really scattered brain, especially where I'm really inspired by something. So I would be simultaneously working on many things, or I would be self-conscious about an idea and avoid it, and then it will take more time. As well as setting up at home surprisingly takes so much more time than setting up in the car. Yeah, so that's the one part I didn't like, how much time it was taking, but also in a way, in the end, it is the time I'm spending doing something I want to do. So that's always a good thing. Another thing I didn't like is the comparison that came with it. I was, for research, I was looking at other creators and then very quickly stopped being research and going into comparing myself, which is never a good thing. And that was followed with this feeling of confusion and feeling of resignation, because I felt like the videos were not getting as much of a response, even though I thought that they were, similar to the ones that do get a big response. So those are the feelings that I was met with, which were not very pleasant. And now the last section of the video, what is next? Some of you expressed that you didn't want me to put a close to the series, which I really appreciate and I'm happy to hear. So I decided that for this year, I will do a seasonal Wonder Club. So there will be one episode for each season, winter, summer, So I'm not sure yet if I should do them in the middle of the season or at the end of the season. I feel like in the middle of the season would be very nice, because then you'll get to still use some of the ideas or recommendations maybe. But at the end of the season, it could be more encompassing the whole season of what I've actually enjoyed. But I don't know. I'll think on it. If you have an idea, let me know what you would prefer. Another thing that I want to do more of is Substack, as I mentioned before, and write more, share my photography there. And apart from the Seasonal Wonder Club and Substack, I do have a bunch of footage just sitting on my SSDs that I never edited because I was too afraid. Of what? Who knows? So I really want to revisit them and see what happens. Perhaps that would be healing in some way. There's videos from 1 or 2 years ago, even, mostly from Iceland. I know there's a sketchbook tour in there. There is a lot of travel diary, video diary type of videos from my first years here. So yeah, I might be looking into that and posting some of that kind of content. If you're curious to know what's next, do give this account a follow, as well as you can find me on Instagram. I'm not sure how much longer for, because everyone seems to be leaving that platform. It is a very emotional process for me to leave Instagram. I've been very, very connected to it for a very long time, and a lot of history is in there. So I'm still debating on that. But for the time being, this is where you can find me, and this was the last episode of Wonder Club. Thank you so much for being with me. Thank you for watching. Give this video a like if that's something that you wish to do and express to me. I appreciate them. And see you around. Thank you so much.